of introduction. I am Vishnu Solite. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's roundtable on India's component manufacturing opportunities and component incentive scheme. This important discussion is brought to you by Guidance Tamil Nadu, ELCINA, and Invest India. We are thrilled to have such a distinguished group of participants and stakeholders with us today. May I now invite Vishnu Madhur, Senior Manager Guidance, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to today's session on India's component manufacturing opportunity and the component incentive scheme. We are delighted to have you all join us here in Chennai at the Pullman Hotel. On behalf of Guidance Tamil Nadu, ELCINA and Invest India, I extend a sincere welcome to each of you. We have a very informative session planned today, which will begin with a context setting and India's vision for the electronics sector, followed by initiatives by Tamil Nadu for the electronics and the semiconductor industry. We will then delve into India's electronics semiconductor market and activities undertaken by Invest India. After that, we'll explore India's electronics component market opportunity and decode the electronics component manufacturing scheme by ELCINA. Finally, we will have an open session moderated by Mr. N. Ramchandran, past president of ELCINA and the managing director of MEL Systems. We hope today's session will provide valuable insights into opportunities within India's electronics component manufacturing sector and clarify the support available to businesses like yours. Thank you for being here, and let's begin with handing over the mementos. I request our Managing Director, Dr. Darius Ahmed, IAS, to hand over the mementos to Mr. Sushil Pal, Joint Secretary from MAITI. I now request Dr. Darius to hand over the memento to Mr. Ramchandran. Now to Mr. Dr. Ravi Bhatkar, Managing Director of McDermott Alpha. So, Mr. Ramchandran sir will Mr. Ramchandran sir will facilitate Joint Secretary Mr. Sushil Palji. And now for Mr. Ramchandran will facilitate Dr. Darius Ahmed.
Thank you, Vishnu. For the sake of everyone's introduction, we'll now have, starting with Vishnu, introduce everyone for quick 10 seconds before moving on to context setting.
Hi, my name is Vishnu, and I'm the Senior Manager from Guidance Tamil Nadu. I handle the electronics sector. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Karthikeyan. I head Materials Management and Nokia Solutions Network Private Limited. We are into the telecom manufacturing ecosystem of 5G and 4G equipments. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Santosh Kumar. I represent Network Electronics. I'm into sales. We are into the electronic manufacturing sector. Pleasure to be here.
Good morning. This is Jaikar from Hype India. I'm Business Development Manager, and Hype India manufactures components for mobile phones and networking devices. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vamsi, and I represent Aditya Birla Group.
Good morning, everyone. I am Padmanabhan Kumarivel. I represent SFO Technologies Private Limited, Cochin. We are an ESDM company.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am Hariharan, Vice President Operations of SFO. We are an EMS and components manufacturing company. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Prem Kumar. I represent Tata Electronics.
Good morning, everyone. I am Raja Sundaramurthy. I am from BVDN Technologies. We are EMS plus ODM design in India.
Good morning to all. I am Sudarshan Ramajayam. I am the Managing Director of Thingsum Infotech Private Limited. We are the electronic manufacturing services industries.
Good morning all. Myself Venkatesan. I am from Flextronics Technologies India Private Limited. I am heading sourcing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rajesh. I am responsible for the Coastal India Private Limited, CFO as one of the director in the board. And we are the manufacturer of electrical and electronic switches for the auto industry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kannan. I represent Samsung Electronics India Private Limited. I'm a director in the corporate affairs team. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Barkatullah Khan. I am the Vice President for Asia Operations for Visteon India. So we are into cockpit electronics and camera and display manufacturing units in India. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nandini. I run an EMS company, and also we are trying to enter into the component manufacturing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amit Gupta. I represent Sandcraft Industries. We manufacture electromechanical components and enclosures for the electronic industry.
Good morning. My name is Kumar Subramaniam. I represent Keynes Circuits.
Good morning all, this is Ramachandran. I represent Motherson Electronics. We are into the component manufacturing ecosystem.
Good morning all, my name is Elan, represent Sanmina, Fortune 500 EMS company.
Good morning all, this is Arul representing Salcom. So we are into components manufacturing apart from mobile phone chargers.
Good morning all. My name is Sujata Ravishankar. I'm the Regional Director for Indo-American Chamber of Commerce for the Southern region. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Jules Shi. I represent Taipei World Trade Center it's a trade body for Taiwan in the South Indian region. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Carl. I represent the French consulate for the southern part of India.
Hello, good morning. My name is Kaoru Shiraishi. I'm a Director General of Japan External Trade Organization, trade and investment promotion body of Japanese government. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ji Hwan-eun. I'm the DG of the Kutra Chennai, the Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency, and we have been in Chennai since 1996. Thank you very much.
Please elaborate.
Vinod Subramanian, I'm Vice President for Technology Sectors with Invest India.
Morning. My name is Ramachandran, past President of ELCINA, and I'm the Chairman of MEL Systems and Services Limited. Thank you.
Morning everyone, I'm Sushil Pal, Joint Secretary in Ministry of Electronics and IT, handling the electronic manufacturing. Thank you.
Good morning everyone and welcome to the roundtable. I am Darius. I'm MD Guidance, Tamil Nadu.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ravi Bhatkal. I'm Managing Director of McDermott Alpha Electronic Solutions India. We are an advanced materials and specialty chemicals company for semiconductor fab packaging, IC substrate board assembly, and final assembly. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I am Madhi. I am from Guidance as well. I am handling industry academia collaboration for Guidance Tamil Nadu. Is there anyone else who had, yes please.
Good morning everyone. This is Vinod Perumal, Managing Director of Equipment Technologies. Equipment stands for Eco Products Made in India. So we manufacture equipments and supply to the EMS industries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Mr. Sushil Pal, IAS, Joint Secretary at the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, to share his insights on India's vision for the electronics sector and to set the overall context for today's discussion.
Thank you. I think I would rather, hear from you all rather than, speaking, making it a speech from my side. Nothing, you guys are already industry players. I think nothing that we can tell you something about it. We have come out with I think we saw a lot of EMS players on this side, and we saw only 4 or 5 components player on this side. So, and we have many bigger EMS players who are not present here in this room today. Broadly, I would say that we have reached a stage where we have reached a scale, at least in the EMS operations, and it's a high time that we should take a next step forward to further deepen the value chain by focusing more on the component manufacturing. A few of the component manufacturers have already been in operation, and we have been supporting them under one of our other schemes. We run a few schemes, and these schemes were designed a few years back. So like Salcom is supporting them under specs, I guess. Motherson also being supported under specs. So, but each component, this component is a pretty complex space, right? I think it's not the It's not like EMS operation that you can you can deal complete landscape with a single brush. It's not possible to do that. Each component has a separate disability. I think some have the high Capex requirements, some have issues of scale to remain competitive in the long run. Some have a very high investment to turnover ratio. So depending upon which component you're looking at, the requirement or disability maybe will be different, and therefore the support needed would also be different. And keeping that in mind, we had a intensive consultation with the industry, and this, as a result, you would see the scheme which has been notified. I think it's a scheme one of its kind. It's not a regular scheme which government has been bringing out till now. It's not like a pure vanilla PLI scheme, neither a pure vanilla Capex scheme, right? So it's a mix of both. It's a scheme which has all the turnover linked incentive element into it. It has a Capex incentive linked into it. It has got it's a hybrid. It provides for a hybrid support as well, wherein we provide support for the Capex as well as support for the turnover. And apart from that, this some element is also focused on the employment linkage. However, when you go forward, we have tried to make sure, I think we'll be coming out with the guidelines. We'll make sure that the compliance burden on the industry is minimal, and we don't get into the quagmire role of our PMA, asking all that detailed questionnaire to kind of qualify you or disqualify you from receiving incentive. We have taken care of that. All those things have been taken care, and the compliance requirement has been made minimalistic. But yes, employment is a huge thrust of the government, and we have to make sure that the employment criteria, whatever we have provided for against each of the separate categories of component, is also on a very conservative side, as had come out in a consultation with industry. So, I think so. That's one area I think we'll all have to focus on. I think I don't need to underline the importance this industry has for the government as such, or for the manufacturing as such. I mean, we as a country contribute roughly about 17%, more than 17% to the global population, but contribute only about 3 to 4% to the global GDP. And as compared to a country like China, which contributes 17% of the population, but also contributes 17% to the global GDP. So at least, say country like US, which contributes 4 to 5% of the global population, but contribute 25% to the global GDP. So at least we have to reach a scale, reach a stage that we at least contribute to the global GDP in proportion to our population, and that is just to underline that how much headroom we have. So we have got huge headroom above us, and government, including the state government, is out there to kind of support the industry in a big, with the full support. I think I would look forward to be hearing from you, and would be happy to take any questions or clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your wonderful remarks. To segue from Joint Secretary's remarks, may I now invite Dr. Dariz Ahmed IAS, Managing Director and CEO of Guidance Tamil Nadu, to share his remarks as well.
Good morning all. Thank you, sir, for a very nice introduction for today's roundtable. And this component scheme has come at a very appropriate time for the country and for the state, in the sense that it is a time where we move up the value chain. And as Joint Secretary Sir was saying, that the headroom we have to match population with our GDP, world GDP contribution, we should all work together to contribute to that enterprise. And as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, Tamil Nadu has always been a leader in electronic manufacturing, and even Government of India scheme for FATP and assembly and EMS came through. We were also part of this journey. And in this component manufacturing also, we have great potential, and the state will also add to the efforts of the center, sir, and we will surely be complementary and ensure that the dream and vision of our developed country will be achieved. And our Chief Minister has laid down the 1 trillion economy pathway for us. So we are also planning towards that. How do we So there is a small presentation we have just put up. So we'll just go through that, sir. So actually, 20% of share in India's electronic output, sir, and 3.5 billion to state GDP, and 12.6 billion is in the highest exporter of Indian electronics. Consumer electronics, 32% of India's output. Computer peripherals, 46%. Electronics and components, 15% of India's productions. So these are some of the big players we already have here. And 3 out of 4 iPhone contract manufactured in India based in Tamil Nadu. And 10 global EMS major, host 8 out of 10 global EMS players we have in India. We have state policies which supplements and supports Government of India's schemes. So this is a diverse electronics ecosystem which is home to 100 plus global companies having its manufacturing operations, Delta. So all of these companies are very familiar to the people in this room, so I don't need to, but Tamil Nadu is again trying for a balanced regional development, and many important players are also helping us in having this vision achieved. So the state's thrust is to have a very balanced and regional growth in the manufacturing ecosystem. So for example, if you look at across the value chain, Apple India supply chain set to operation over the last 5 years, and employment potential of more than 1.5 lakh jobs. So FATP, display, components, battery, enclosure services. So this is the value chain mapping, sir, and we have this for many other ecosystems also. So actually, sir, we have a supply and we have demand also. So if you look at the supply side, we already explained. Sir. Demand, we have EV vehicles, 70% of India's EV two-wheeler production, and 5G and network equipment, manufacturing R&D presence of global players, Nokia, Ericsson, Cisco, data centers, aerospace and defense, design and R&D. Already we have a strong ecosystem of demand and supply present for this team. Actually, if you look at the growth, we have registered a significant 8x growth in the last 3 years in electronic exports. Segment aligned companies are non-SMD passive components. We have Costa Devices, MS Transformer, Telema, SVM, Avalonia, Electromechanicals, Hyosung, Mifile, Yazaki, Hubble, ARC, Multiplayer PCB, Sanmina, ARC, Tayo, Glonix, Cataline. We would have missed out some players. Please, if you can give us more detailing on this, it will be helpful. And supply chain of sub-assemblies, Minda, Lakshya, Kramsky, Yoyo, Stadgri. HDA, MSRP, Flexible PCB, Ascend, Unicom. Leon cells for digital application, Libat, Simplu. Camera module, sub-assembly, Lucid Imaging. SMD passive components, Murata, El Compo. So these are the already aligned companies which you have in the supplier ecosystem. So actually, if you look at the factors of production, sir, so we have, if you look at power utility 2024, hours of supply, interruption index and distribution transformer failure rate. So we are one of the best in the country, sir, regarding our quality and reliability of our power. And if you look at average wage, sir, apprentice, experienced technician, test manager, quality assurance managers, our average wage rates are lower compared to many other competitive states, sir. So this is what we offer in the factors of protection. Future, we have specific work labs. We have 9 out of top 50 research institutions as per NIRF ranking, and our GER, gross enrollment ratio, is 46.9. And if you look at the number of graduates, Tamil Nadu produced 1,43,000 engineers, and 7,000 is the patent number filed in highest number of patents. Highest PhD enrollment in India, and 16% is women PhD of. And 210 is annual capacity, 210,000 annual training in vocational and technical skills. And if you look at electron instrumentation engineering graduates finishing, it's almost 17,000 plus. Anna University QS world ranking, if you look at electrical and electronic engineering material science, this is 170 ranking. So we have 18 of the top 100 institutions in India, and 22 of the top 100 universities, 37 of the top 100 colleges, 11 of the top management schools in India, 14 of the top 100 engineering colleges. So the human resource availability is also best in the country. So we have the flagship program, Nan Mudalvan, of upskilling the skills of the college students. It is one of the biggest in the country, sir. And we have more than 2,000 companies who are skilling our students, and more than 300 plus courses, and almost 23 lakh students are registered on the platform. So this is a huge pool of talent available for the industry, and in guidance we are providing access to this talent pool for industry so that you are able to get your human resources at the college level. Any industry and any industry specific requirement of upskilling, we are able to provide. There are, for example, there are companies who are into robotics who are requesting us for giving specific robotics specific training for the students. That also we are providing. So all the companies here and component manufacturers in future, if you have any specific skill self requirement, government will train the students at our cost for your requirement. Not moving. Next one. So if you look at the number of courses which we offer, for example, Polytechnic, we have additive manufacturing, Industry 4.0, CAD design, PCB design, printed circuit board design, PCB design, Schneider's Center of Excellence. So we have training, for example, this is the number of Polytechnic graduates and type of courses. For example, I'm just reading out the courses for that to show, and these courses are offered as credits in the semester. So it becomes mandatory for the student to choose, and the type of courses offered is advanced PCB design, additive manufacturing, IC chip design, PLC schematics, manufacturing of mechanical components. So what we are trying to express here is that any company requiring specific training, we will be willing to provide under the scheme. So we have been offering this regularly for our students. So guidance, and what does we offer? We offer end-to-end services for the industry to set up, for example, from land for regulatory clearance, and after establishing the factory, whatever is further requirement of the industry, we are there to provide. We get industrial approvals, expansion support, soft services, investor help desk, policy formulation, investment facilitation, and single point of contact. We are the single point of contact for the industry, and whatever is your requirement until the life cycle of the industry, even after establishing, even during operations, whatever problems you face, we are there to be with you and help you in solving out. So, for example, construction permit, we have a single window portal. So number of time taken, average turnaround time, in the last 3 years, 557 people, construction permit, consent to establish, consent to operate. This is the average turnover time for in our single window portal. For any industry, regulatory approvals are very important part of your establishment. So we are providing these services, and if you look at the average turnaround time and number of companies availed, you will understand that the system has been institutionalized, and we are further supporting. If you will, another 2 days, our industry's demand will be there in assembly, and there will be a lot of very important news regarding what we are discussing today and regarding our single window portal to be announced in the assembly. So I cannot say that now, so please wait for 2 more days to have very significant announcements in the assembly. So we will customize incentives and investment based on the requirement of the industry. Some industries ask for payroll subsidies, some industries ask for capital subsidies, some industries prefer turnover subsidies. So depending on the requirement of the industry, the state has been flexible in providing the support. So that has been one of the USPs of Tamil Nadu. So there are different policies and different formulations available, structured packages available. So that is one of the very good advantages of the TN policies. So with this, we will stop here. It's been long. We are here to learn and listen from you all. So again, once more, thank you for the support and taking your time to attend this important roundtable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's now delve into India's component manufacturing landscape. May I now invite Mr. Vinod Subramanian, Vice President at Invest India, to present an overview of this important sector.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me start by congratulating Sushil Palji, the author of the new policy, and for the component ecosystem. It takes tremendous amount of effort to get a lot of these things done, and electronics MITI has been at the forefront of doing this. They've done it in the previous cycle also, and is one of the most well accepted and successful policies, and this is the version 2 of it. Hope and request all of you to participate in this. This is a journey of partnership. We have got international collaboration, friends here, companies, both domestic as well as international. India today is at a cusp of growth. We are on our mission from moving from the 5th largest economy to the 3rd largest economy. And if you look at key sectors that can drive this growth, electronics stands absolutely at the forefront. If you look at the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, the next set of them, if you look at energy, which is really solar and renewables, if you're looking at auto, which is EV, if you're looking at strategic electronics, if you're looking at medical devices, every single one of them also drives electronics at the back end. Right? So the growth potential for electronics industry is phenomenal, and I believe the new policy will create an opportunity to partner, whether it is center and the states together, companies and the government together, domestic as well as international players, whether it's for technology collaboration or for bringing in new capacity, capability into the country. I think there is phenomenal amount of opportunity in front of us. I also want to congratulate Guidance Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has been in the forefront of actually executing on a lot of these policies, and some numbers have already been shared in terms of the success. This is a land of opportunity, so I do invite everyone to come and participate in this growth journey. A couple of quick numbers. Let me see if the slides are up. I can use that. Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm going to start with a quick overview numbers. Most of this would be familiar for you. All of us have targets in front. India is looking at electronics production target of 500 billion, supported by 200 billion of exports as we move to 2030. The biggest growth journey in this is components, and you can see that the expectation is to grow from 12 to 150 billion, supported by exports, which equally is growing from 3 to 22. Again, this is what really the objective of the policy, to drive growth and give all of you opportunity in this growth journey. I'm going to skip through the semiconductor piece of it. What are the key drivers is fundamentally 3 pieces. The consumer electronics, which actually have already, you can see the growth already happening. EV and mobility, that's a big driver. Strategic electronics is the 3rd big driver. Quick glance on Invest India. We are the investment promotion agency. We look at organizations, and organizations in their own growth journey will look at probably 6, 7 different levers. When they look at India, they could look at India as a market, which is a market opportunity. They could look at India for back office. They could look at India for R&D and talent. They could look at for component supplies. They could look at for actually manufacturing here. They could look at for AI, right? So and this doesn't, it's not at any point of time, it's only one, it's a journey that companies go through. And depending on what phase of their growth journey they are in, India provides that opportunity. And today, the component policy is really around building that, the ecosystem, which supports electronics products at the front end, but, the capacity build at the back end. And Invest India really supports these organizations in their growth journey, working with central government, state government, as well as the ecosystem itself to help build your success story into India's aspirations overall. As a team, we are structured as 3 teams, which you can see at the bottom. We've got a team which handles country, economic relations, which partners with other countries which want to partner in India's growth journey. We've got technical expertise by sector, which is the sector teams, and we also have teams which facilitate at each of the state level. I run the technology sectors. I'm part of that middle team. On the right side, you can see the different subsectors within electronics that we look at. We have specific teams focusing on each of the subcomponents. Again, today's focus is really around the components piece. I want to conclude by saying that in this growth journey, it is really about partnership. You are looking for growth for your own individual companies. India is looking at growth for the country, which is supported by multiple aspects. Like Sushil Palji said, the new policy really is about incentivizing growth in terms of production, which is production linked. It is about Capex subsidies, so that your cost of manufacturing can be really supported in the initial phase till you get to good enough scale where the scale itself supports your unit cost, and the third is also supporting employment. So it's a very well articulated policy. It has been done over the last many quarters with strong support and inputs from I'm guessing all of you in the room as well. The government is still listening, so if there are additional inputs, please do share with us, and wish you all good luck in this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now call upon Dr. Ravi Bhatkal, Managing Director, McDermott Alpha, to speak on the component incentive scheme and the market opportunities it presents.
Thank you, Madhu. So I'm presenting on behalf of ELCINA. I'll quickly go through the introductory part and then get to the scheme itself, and then we can open up for Q&A for the group. So India's growth vision is aggressive, aspirational, and so it should be. Goal is to grow from 3.7 trillion in the baseline year 2023 to 7 trillion in 2030 and 32 trillion in 2047, and per capita income to grow from $2,600 to $4,000 in 2030 and $22,000 in 2047. Similarly, export growth scaling in the same ratio from 700 billion to 6 trillion in 2047. Human capital, we are the second largest workforce today, to become the largest in 2030 and stay that way through to 2047. You've seen this already from my notes, so I won't dwell on it, other than to say that these are phenomenal numbers to achieve by 2030. As you all know, there are three major clusters today, with the fourth one emerging. So it's South, West, and North. I mean, these are all the major brands globally in terms of both OEMs and Tier 1s and EMSs that have located in India and continue to grow. India's journey has been from final assembly back to board assembly, and now going into packaging and components, and then onto materials and other supply chain inputs. ELCINA is the oldest industry association in India for electronics hardware, established in 1967. It's always remained committed to the promotion of electronics manufacturing in India, and continues to work towards correlating common interests of the electronics hardware manufacturers. Among the key activities are policy advocacy and recommendations to the government of India as well as the state governments, representing industry in various forums, enabling development of the sporting ecosystem, business development events. As you all may be familiar, Source India is a major one held in Chennai every year in the January-February timeframe. Consulting services and industry reports, foreign delegations, both received and outgoing, training and skills development, annual awards, industry support and infrastructure, and collaboration with international organizations. If you look at now the key components for the global value chain, the existing component portfolio is really PCBs, single, double, and multi-layer, single-sided, double-sided, and multi-layer up to 6 layers. Passive components, including resistors, capacitors, inductors, ferrites, etc. Raw materials are used in making the electronics components, electromechanical products, and then plastic moldings and sheet metal parts. The new portion of this, which is also envisioned in the scheme, is to go above 6 layers of PCBs, introduce flex and rigid flex, HDI and IC substrates, SMD components and chip components, MLCCs, MELF resistors and chip inductors, sub-assemblies including display and camera modules in particular, and others as well, electromechanical components, sub-assemblies like micro relays and micro switches, and then plastic molding, metal parts, and precision manufactured components. The production scenario is, again, I think Vinod covered this briefly, but the aspiration is to really grow to $500 billion level by 2030 for total systems manufacturing, out of which components would represent about 300 billion and manufacturing production would represent about 200 billion. For this to happen, the ecosystem has to really be built locally by and large, and that includes everything that comes upstream that feeds in as inputs into this ecosystem. People, materials, components, equipment, and then all of the key activities that go into it, that is design, modeling and simulation, manufacturing processes and testing and reliability. All of that needs to factor into ecosystem building here. When you look at the breakdown between components and other values of cost, including design and manufacturing cost, it's about 60% components and 40% other. And when you break the components down further, semiconductor is typically about 20%, and the rest accounts for non-semiconductor passives, battery, mechanics, display, camera modules, speaker and microphone, etc. It's a larger piece of the components is actually what is covered in the incentive scheme that's before us now, and I think that is very substantial. So getting to the scheme itself, I'll just quickly, briefly overview and ask for any inputs that where I'm not necessarily gotten it correct. The budgetary outlay is 22,900 plus crores, excluding any admin expenses. It's a 6-year program, including 1 year of gestation period. And the incentives include a capital, turnover, and a hybrid of both with a requirement for employment. The expected benefits are that the expectation is that 59,000 plus crores would be invested by total investment, including industry investment, with a total production over the lifetime of the program over 6 years to be 4,56,000 plus crores, with 91,000 plus incremental direct employment. The target segment includes sub-assemblies, including display and camera modules, bare components, including non-surface mount devices, passive devices, electromechanicals, multi-layer PCBs, lithium-ion batteries, and enclosures, and then selected bare components, which include HDI PCBs as well as SMD passive components, and then the supply chain portion, which includes various material components feeding into this component ecosystem, as well as the equipment portion of it. The eligibility, it's both for greenfield as well as brownfield investments for the target segments. Separate applications to be submitted for each target segment, and the qualification will be decided based on consolidated global system design and manufacturing revenue of the manufacturing entity and the financial capability of the entity. In terms of how long this will be open, our understanding is that the scheme will be open for applications for the component sub-assemblies and bare components for a period of 3 months starting May 1st. And for supply chain, it will be open for a period of 2 years starting May 1st. The incentive outlay for the target segments shall be fungible upon themselves based on fund requirement and response received. And then there's a cumulative incremental investment that is required, a threshold that's required for each of the categories that will be counted from the date of notification. In terms of, this is just a breakdown of the various parts of the incentive, portions of the incentive: turnover linked, capital incentive, and hybrid. So turnover linked to be computed as a percentage of incremental turnover of the base year. 24-25 is to be considered as the base year, and the company applying for this may opt for a gestation period of 1 year, and the base year would be then 25-26. The capital incentive is to be computed as a percentage of eligible capital expenditure, and 5% is to be disbursed on meeting cumulative incremental employment threshold requirements, and a mechanism to be put in place for assessment of actual capital expenditure. And of course, disbursement is to be made after commencement of commercial production. And hybrid incentive is a combination of turnover and Capex and incentive. I think for especially the HDI and SMD passives, that's the incentive program for that. This is just, I won't go through it in detail, but for sub-assemblies, it's mostly turnover linked, from 4% in year 1 down to 1% in year 6. Similarly, camera modules going from 5 to 2%, bare components, non-surface mount devices going from 8 to 4%, electromechanicals going from 8 to 4%, and so on. So A and B categories are really turnover linked, incentive driven with employment requirements. The selected bare components, as you can see, the HDI interconnect and MSAP and flexible PCBs are eligible for both turnover linked incentive as well as Capex incentive. Capex incentive being 25% of eligible incentive. And then supply chain is investments are eligible for Capex incentive only of the order of 25% of eligible Capex. And of course, each of these has a requirement for employment generation and creation. I won't go through this in detail in terms of threshold criteria. Each category has their own threshold criteria for cumulative investment as a function of the years, as well as the incremental sales to be achieved and cumulative incremental employment to be generated. I'm sure that ELCINA can make this presentation available, right? Yeah. So everyone will get a copy of this. And then supply chain also has a similar requirement for minimum investments, incremental sales, and minimum employment to be generated as a number of employees linked to a level of investment that is being done in the supply chain. So that's a quick summary. These are ELCINA's recommendations or suggestions for strategy for state government to maximize the benefit from the ECMS. As Dr. Darez mentioned, it's alignment of state policies with ECMS, tailoring policies to complement, offer matching or top-up support in terms of Capex, OPEX, land, and utilities, focusing on infrastructure development, plug-and-play EMCs, power, logistics, water, and clean room facilities, prioritizing regions with strategic proximity to ports and air cargo hubs, and a nodal agency to work with to fast-track clearances through single window systems and promote investor facilitation. And the rest is really to attract component-specific investments, really creating an ecosystem that includes MSMEs and skills development. I think one of the things that is critical is to build up the MSME capability, taking companies that are 10 crores to 100 crores, companies that are 100 crores, take them to 1,000 crores. How do we do that? Because scaling is going to be an absolutely critical aspect of all of this. And that includes extending financial aid or shared facilities, partnering with the skills development agencies, promoting centers of excellence at various universities and institutes, and special labor rules for the sector. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on behalf of ELCINA and look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have had few delegates entering the roundtable after the introduction session. So can you please introduce yourselves?
So good morning, everyone. I am Jeevan Jot Singh from EdgeRise Global. We are the strategic partners to the ELCINA, and we help industries to expand, to grow, and we are a business management consulting organization. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you and very good morning. I'm Sarvesh Chauhan, founder director of EdgeRise Global. My colleague Jeevan already introduced about the company, so we are here to collaborate and look forward for this great opportunity for the ECMS scheme which is launched by MeitY, and how the state and the industry can get benefited out of it. We are here to guide. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Shamil. I represent Avalon Technologies, and we're a global contract manufacturing company with operations in India and North America. In India, it's mostly around Chennai and small bits in Bangalore. And very excited to hear all of you talk. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Benjamin Ding from the Delta Electronics, and we are investor, I think, commit 500 million in the Krishnagiri, Tamil Nadu. Also, be happy today to hearing about the new PRI scheme, and we are looking forward to cooperate with the government and get the good benefit from here. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now transition to our open session. This will be moderated by Mr. Ramchandran, past president of ELCINA and managing director of MEL Systems and Services. Each delegate will have 2 minutes to share their opinions and suggestions. Mr. Ramchandran, sir, over to you.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. I think from where I come from, based on my age, I would say that there is a 100x change in the way government thinks of the industry. Positive. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's something which when I was younger, I would never have believed that such a thing can happen in India. I'm saying for both the central and the state government. The way the governments are now talking to the industry and the way they are encouraging, in fact, they are demanding today performance, which is, extremely, I would say, welcome in our situation. So we keep on saying why China is where they are and why we are not, we are there we are. It's a pure teamwork and hard work, and I think today the government is encouraging this teamwork. Thank you and for these kind of new policies. Before I start, I have a couple of comments on this policy, so maybe I would like to express that. I think ELCINA also have missed out mention anything on capital equipment. There was one line, but it was not discussed. See, you look at components. We are talking about a turnover of $300 billion, manufactured $300 billion components in the year 2030. Normally, a turnover ratio between investments to an annual turnover in component industry is always kind of very low. In fact, that's one of the things which ELCINA had argued when the policy was made. So if you're talking about $300 billion of component manufacturing, I would say in 1 year's turnover of 300 billion, the requirement of Capex will at least be 60% of that value. I mean, so we are talking about $180 billion worth of capital equipment required. From the way we discussed both Delhi and here, somehow I feel that we are resigned to the fact that capital goods will be imported. And today, all my friends here have a difficult situation with importing capital equipment from China. While not only imports, it's also the fact that support. It's a major issue. In just 5 years, we want to reach 300 billion electronic component manufacturing from a level of 20-30 billion. Now, if you want to do that, I would say one of the key element is the capital goods. In my opinion, it is not addressed adequately, and my request is that it is, addressed adequately. Because it's a huge, definitely all the Capex cannot be indigenized in short term. Say out of 180 billion, you indigenize at least 50 billion. That's a huge, it will make a huge difference. So at that point, I would like, sir, to, discuss that. I think adequate discussions are not gone on, in my opinion. The other part is, you've had a lot of discussions, but just a point is that this, in terms of bare components, it's PLI scheme, but there is no Capex subsidy. The bare components will require very high investments in terms of setting up a plant. They will require that kind of support. If you set up a SMT plant, it's like definitely almost equivalent to setting up a OSAT plant. So in that sense, how do we help that industry? My request is to consider a Capex subsidy as well along with that. In fact, in terms of the capital goods industry, the capital goods industry requires PLI more than the Capex subsidy, because capital goods, when we manufacture, it will never be in mass production. It will always be in terms of custom made, individual kind of equipment. So the parts which go in will be specialized for every large capital goods you make. You cannot hope to have internal facilities and build large factories to do that. You will always outsource and get parts from skilled companies around you. So, but what happens is that your output, the capital goods sale, when you do that, all the industry here is quite accustomed to getting capital goods from China, and to compete with Chinese prices is a huge task. So that's going to be a big challenge, and if that is not addressed, I'm not so sure whether there will be a big response to capital goods, part of your proposal. Right, sorry, I just took a few points to discuss, and let's start maybe from here, sir. If you, one by one, you can speak for 2 minutes, give your opinion, and then, let's see how after that maybe we can have an open discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, here again, my name is Jiwanan from Kotra, Chennai. We Kotra have been joining the Source India for less than 3 years. Our main export items, Korean main export item to the world has been, the semiconductors and the ships and the plastic resins and so on. And Korean electronic industries have mainly invested China and Vietnam. And as you know, not only Korean big fishes, but also other huge electronic manufacturer have been importing the components from China or Vietnam. I think that they may think it is much easier and simpler and cheaper to import all these parts and assemble here in India. But the time is changing. I think here in India, the automotive industry and steel industry is in mature stage, and we have a big expectation about India as a main electronic component manufacturer, not only as an electronic product assembler. So I have been focusing on to gather the information, how's it going on about the Indian electronic component the manufacturers and what is the policies. And I'm very happy to hear that now the Union government announced the PLI for the electronic components. What I'd like to do today is gather the information and incentives and your opinion as much as possible. And I'd like to deliver the schemes and industry, the colleagues' the opinions to the Korean electronic industries. And let them know more and understand more about the Indian Union government and Tamil Nadu government's the policy for promoting electronic component manufacturing. And what I'd like to do, let you know is that still, Samsung is here in India, and LG is preparing a factory very near from here, Chennai. And I think that sooner or later, they may, how can I say that, organize their own the value chains for the electronic components. I hope the union government and the state government can offer the good conditions as much as possible for the Korean companies who would like to organize this electronic components value chains. Thank you very much.
Yes, my name is Shiraishi of JETRO, Chennai, Trade and Investment Promotion Agency of Japan. Well, I want to say a few things about this conference or the presentation. The one is that good opportunity. Time has been changed. After COVID and the trade frictions between China and the US, now probably that the India is benefited because that all major players diversified their production point. Their experience was, because of their experience, they have stopped to produce or that supply their products if only limited production base. So that the major company is diversifying their production base from not only China. Well, probably last 10 years, everybody focused on the low production and mass production. Now the time is changed. They diversify the production base. And India must be the one prospective place because you have that market, huge population in domestic market. And also you can export. And that policy is neutral to around the world. So that the production maker, that the major producer, company, that they think that this is the ideal place for the production for next decades or that afterwards. The second thing, what I want to tell you is now, then that India is good for that environment for inviting the investment from foreigners or that domestic investment. That is the point. Now, do we have that good water here? Do we have that good air conditions? Electronics need that good cleaning rooms. And that electricity. Although Tamil Nadu has a surplus of that supplying electricity, but the electronics industry needs that quality, the stable, high quality powers, and also that the technologies. Maybe that Tamil Nadu is one of the best place to produce that engineers because of that good university and number of engineers. So we understand and we're telling that the Japanese friends, this is a place, ideal place, competitive place, but still infant place. We need more the education, trainings for the engineers. And also that policy should be join hand together, tie up together, that the federal government, central government, and terminal government. Here we see that you provide, thank you very much for that the incentive of the policy. But today I want to also know how do you, terminal government, link that incentives of newly introduced the federal government, like that yes, the incentive for that incentives from the terminal government, and yes, for that capital intensive. Well, as Mr. Ramachandran mentioned, yes, I agree with you that this industry is not highly incentive, highly product and that labor cost of production very, very small, more on the capital intensive, so that more the stable, good environment for that investment and the engineer will be needed. So for the government or the terminal government should compete not only that the labor, the cheapness of the labor, but quality of the labor. So in that circumstances, you need more education, training, or that engineer sector in this industry. Well, I told too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So as Shiraishi and the others said, now foreign companies realize that India, because of this uncertainty in the global order, they realize that India is not only a big domestic market, but also a place where you can manufacture high quality goods. But for the moment, for most of them, that's still a promise. And they want to see on the ground how it can be delivered. And that's what Shiraishi said. And so there is this interest for India from companies, from French companies in the electric and in the electronics sector. But now they're looking at more structured policy framework, and the complementarity between what the union government is doing and the state governments are doing is really key, because we know that there are a lot of schemes, and actually that's why I'm happy today to see that you're organizing this industry roundtable together, because for companies sometimes it's a bit confusing to understand how the subsidies can be articulated together, about the eligibility. So making sure that there is one, if possible, single window portal for one company, be it for union government subsidies or state government subsidies, is really important. And one other factor which is really important is the human capital. Companies, they want to make sure that if they come here in Tamil Nadu or in other states, they have a job-ready workforce in these very highly innovative sectors. They need some evidence for that. So, and we know again that Tamil Nadu has been one of the forerunners in the country in terms of skilling the graduates and making them job ready. So more needs to be done on that, and companies can also help with centers of excellence, with these kinds of industry academy initiatives. That's, I think, one of the most important segments, and that's one of our priorities as the French Embassy in India is to promote industry academy partnerships with centers of excellence or these kinds of partnerships. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jules. I represent Taiwan Trade Mission in the South. For the past 4 years, I'm very happy to work with Invest India and Guidance and ELCINA as well. We develop this South region very much. I would like to give you some idea of Taiwanese investment in India. Actually, Taiwanese investment in India, we are like a new student in the school. So we've been here roughly 10 years. But since the pandemic and the world trade, trade war, Taiwan's company numbers has been double up, but still quite small amount. But it's been double up during these 4 years, and we can say that 70% of our investment is in the south. So this is what we do, and we are really focused on this region because of the facilities and the infrastructure base. For this new PLI, I think many of you know better how to allocate the resources for better allocation like this PLI scheme. But I'm not an expert, I'm not a company person, but I think two things I would like to share from my perspective is that first, I hope this scheme can be distributed fairly, like no matter this is for domestic or FDI. I hope this is fairly distributed, because no matter we are invest here, you can consider we are a domestic company here, because we export, we do everything here. And the second thing I want to mention about semiconductor, this is like very important thing for India, we know that. I also read some of the incentives regarding for the trainings for the engineers. Actually, Taiwan, we have one of the best semiconductor academy in Taiwan. Maybe you can prolong this incentive for encouraging local Indian students from the top schools coming to Taiwan as a part of this training program in terms of making the most important semiconductor human resources. That's my two of my points. Thank you.
Thank you.
First, we would like to congratulate on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce this excellent the PLI scheme that have been introduced, which is timely. Now with the Honorable Prime Minister and the President who have interacted on reaching out to the mission $500 billion, I think electronics is a very core sector. And on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, we would be happy to work together with Guidance and Invest India and others to take it forward. In fact, we have one upcoming program on June 27th on Tamil Nadu's pathway in attaining or drive, how Tamil Nadu can drive the $500 billion trade, and electronics sector is very, very keen and important sector which we would be working. With this, I leave the thought here. I have my chairman, Mr. Shamil Vicha from Indo-American, who will add some thoughts. We also have our member company, Visteon, and few others who are from the electronics sector to work. We look forward to working with ELCINA in promoting this scheme amongst our US companies and Indian companies in scaling up, as well as for new investment. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Benjamin from Delta Electronics. Thank you for these invitations from I think ELCINA, and also for the comments. I think just based on the points I think Sir mentioned, but I think just would like to give some the insight from the Delta Electronics. I think for the comparison, I think with the current all the competitions with other countries, I think in India for the investment to Tamil Nadu, I think we still need to see how can we really come out the competitive the products, then we can really compete with the China or other countries. But the key is how to make the good quality and as well as the low cost products. I think that is the key. So now we can see this is a very good scheme for the ECMS. I think without the complete the ecosystem, especially for the electronics the products, I think we cannot say we have the full the competitions the capabilities. So in the current, I think just like Delta, we have the the key manufacturing site in the globally. So we have the China manufacturing site, we have Thailand, we have the US, and now we have the big investment in India. But also currently the customers, more than 60% is from US. So we are making our products then export to US. But currently our customers, maybe like the HP, Dell, and also for Microsoft, they will always asking, how did you measure the products? You can keep the good quality. You can also have the low cost, low price. The product is always the key. But the second, the customer, they will always ask, did you or your production site have the good ecosystem, and also the overall the facilities and also for the infrastructure is good enough to support the daily operations. So for us, I think currently, many the manufacturing, like many Taiwanese company, maybe like Delta, I think in the past the half months we are all quite crazy for the American, the new tariff issues. So we always have meetings every day and night with our customer and so also internally. But I think India, just based on current situation for the tariff issues, we are quite confident, and also we already seen the India government already doing a lot. But I think in case governments, we should also need to see how to really compete with other countries. I think mainly from the south, the east country, and as well as maybe the new areas. So I think currently we cannot say the world is quite fair. I think for the trade, the situation already totally changed. So which country or which government can really give the strong support to support his industry strong? I think this is the winning point. So here I would like to call for the governments, the continuous supports. Like right now, we get very strong the support from the Tamil Nadu governments and also from the MITs. But also, I think maybe the government should not only see for the new investment, and now should change over to trying to do more support for the company or the foreign the investors already committed to growth in India, and also support the committed company to growth. I think this is some points we would like to share today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, sir, for giving a very simplified PLA scheme, covering the entire electronic components into 3 categories and sub-assembly into 2 categories, like 5 categories, grouping all the electronic components is a very big task. But MIT had make it very simple, and we are looking for the guidelines. Once guidelines there, most of the queries will get cleared. From Salcom point of view, so Salcom have experience both in FATP as well as component. Compared to the FATP, not taking away any credits from the FATP, component is more difficult compared to an FATP. First is from the investment point of view. Say FATP, most of the investments goes to the equipments, not much for the infrastructure. But for the components, at least 40% of the investments goes to the infrastructure, only 60% goes to the component. So in that case, we want to ensure that both the infrastructure investments also should be part of the threshold limit for the components. Say example, some of the investment like clean room or some of the investment for the ETP, it is very, getting approved itself is a very difficult task, and also the lead time is very difficult, the challenging, but the investment is also huge. But compared to getting equipment, installing it qualified is very simple. So we need to consider that infrastructure investment as well. And second, the lead time. FATP, the qualification is very simple compared to a component where we can get the equipments within like 3 months, we can do the qualification and we start the mass production immediately. But when you come to an FATP, getting qualified in the FATP itself is a very big task. So it takes more time for a component than an FATP to get qualified. Then the ramping up of the components is even more tougher than an FATP. So we need to consider this like the gestation period. I think there's a 1 year. But if we take Salcom, there are some components we already installed, qualified, so that those components we can be eligible for the PLI. But some components where we didn't start the investment, that will take a couple of months from now to get into that. So we need to see how the basket looks, how we can consider both the existing components and also the new components can get into this same scheme. So that is the two things from Salcom.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to talk on behalf of my supplier partners. Big list of laundry list. Let me try to reduce it to 5 to 6. Ilan from Sanmina. First one is like, I'm very confident that Tamil Nadu has a 75 years of ecosystem in automotive. And I would like to see Chennai, Sriperumbudur transfer to Shenzhen in next 5 to 10 years. So that's what we should focus on. Likewise, across India, we should make a electronics component ecosystem in particular states or places. Whenever my OEM call for parts in their bill of material, they always choose the global chip manufacturers, whether it is resistor, capacitor, whatever it is. So Indian OEM companies should call for Indian-made chips in their bill of material. That is one thing government can influence the Indian OEM companies. Second one is everything money matters. So because of the volume, Chinese manufacturers in electronics, they can able to give 5 to 10% cheaper than the Indian chip manufacturers. So when I see the PLI scheme, it shows that 5% go down to 1% as an incentive year over year. What we see is we have an inefficiency in our logistics, in our overall ecosystems, whatever coming up, still we have inefficiencies. So we should maintain at least 5% incentive for the component manufacturers so that they will have a motivation to start to invest. We should not degrade the year over year incentive for the part manufacturers. And third one, Mr. Ramachandran touched upon it. We should look at the level 2, level 3 ecosystem. For example, component manufacturers, they also need to have a manufacturing equipment related supplies they are depending upon. And then automation in innovation is very weak in India. If you go to China, you have a lot of tool makers, a lot of equipment manufacturers, and then they are supported by suppliers. Innovation in automation, because we cannot also depend upon human. Eventually, when you want to go for the higher ramp up to support the volume for 300 billion, you should have automation companies. So you should also think about incentivizing the level 1, level 2 suppliers of the machine manufacturer and the supporters of them. Of course, we talked about the plug and play industries so that people can go. Still, even though we improved the policies and getting approvals faster, still we feel some challenges. So we should have a plug and pay with the pre-approved pollution control board or electricity or whatever it's already approved. Manufacturers should not go around pillar to post. And another one is like we should have a rationalization in terms of SEZ, days and mover. We are talking about days for many years. So when part manufacturer want to ship it to exports and local, they should not think about I need to put a factory in DTA or mover or SEZ. It's my point also as a EMS. We always get a query to convince my board where I should put my investment. So some guideline to be given to part manufacturers. And the last but not the least, for participating in government tenders as a EMS company or my OEM, having difficulty in convincing the government in terms of local content. So it's a chicken and egg. If the product need to have a 50% local content, then only we can able to participate in government tender. We cannot get a new technologies to India if you are protecting the foreign companies to come to India with the local content. So we should also think about encouraging the technology to come here. For example, the part manufacturer, they have some technology. So we should incentivize them in terms of their technology, what they are going to bring in. As of now, I keep it like this. Later during the discussion, I can pitch it some more. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I make it with 2 points. One is
component PLI comes at a point when we have seen FATP doing a great job. That means the responsibility to take this more successful is on our hands, and we have committed for that. Also, thanks Mr. Ramachandran touching upon the current burning issue of capital goods we have big challenges of capital goods coming in and installation. These are the two topics which we have to address. If the component has to be successful, the capital goods movements has to be frozen, and we have to have ease of transaction between the border. So that's need immediate attention. With that, I rest this here. Thanks.
Sir, thank you. And both the Government of India and Government of Tamil Nadu, any amount of incentive, any amount of money is never going to make me happy or any investors. We might ask even 150%. But we are pretty happy with the incentives. There are only one point I would like to raise it to Sushil Palji. I've been in discussions with a lot of bankers at a very, very senior level for raising some long-term borrowing. Unfortunately, most of the bankers have got no clue what this scheme is all about. And even at the chief general manager levels of State Bank of India, deputy managing directors, and they feel they are actually missing the bus of investing in the industry. Especially the State Bank of India being an elephant in the room, if the financial system doesn't support the industry, the growth isn't going to be achieved. So that is one, if Government of India can take some initiative and talk to bankers and percolate at another level, so even an MSME can go and approach in this industry. So that is one request. Sir, another request, there is always, post-COVID, we keep talking. The $500 billion, in my personal view, is easily doable because we have another post-Trump challenge right now. So we have enough of interest in the customers. I could easily see about already our capacity is pretty much being occupied by the customers' interest. We are hoping to convert that. So maybe an additional basket of another set of incentive maybe in the next year or in future. This, I believe this 22,000 crore would be easily taken. So maybe a post-Trump incentive can be considered, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sandeep Saxena from ELCINA. In fact, I just want to mention one thing that in 1967 when we started, so it was originally Electronic Components Manufacturer Associations, right? And it's like from 67 to 2025, right? We have been like working on this, and 15 years back we started Source India in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, where the focus from the ELCINA side was more on sourcing from India. It was like focus on the supply chain part of it. And we are thankful to Ministry of Electronics and IT for, considering most of the recommendations which were suggested by ELCINA after long interaction with the industry people from the entire India. What we can do is, like, at this point of time, we will be requesting all our sister associations like JETRO, KOTRA, TITRA, right, to take this particular scheme to the respective countries and get the maximum, investment into India and into the state of Tamil Nadu. We work very closely with the state of Tamil Nadu, and you all are here. So we will be like working as a catalyst. We can organize like roadshows in the respective countries with the help of government of Tamil Nadu. And the next year, Source India, we will like make it an international event where this particular scheme will be the highlight of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Sushil Palji. It was very much sought after electronic component policy that came out, and we were very much looking forward to it, and finally it has come out. I think with the success of all the telecom and the IT hardware policies in the last few years, we've seen the electronic manufacturing take off, and a lot of big companies and EMS companies have really come up from India. What I want to do also with this policy, because the component suppliers are pretty much supplying to these EMS companies. They are the component supplier to the EMS companies. So they are not as big a scale. And I could also see some of these mechanical components and electromechanical components. They are not big, large-scale companies. They are MSMEs. And some of the thresholds that I see in those that maybe if there is still time, that could be tweaked over so that we could really include the participation of a lot more MSMEs.
You mentioned which one?
The mechanical component.
50 crore is you think is a high threshold?
No, I think 500 crore was a mechanical component that I saw.
That's the enclosure. That's
Enclosures,
not
yes,
enclosure
sorry.
is different than the electromechanical is 50.
Electromechanical is 50, the enclosures is 500 crores.
They do require heavy investment, and we don't intend supporting enclosure for a set of boxes, and the small, all kind of a electronic component. That's not the intent of the scheme. The scheme is heavily focused on creating or building the components where the infrastructure is needed, right? We don't intend supporting the enclosure for switches, for the gearboxes, for all kind of I think enclosure is pretty wide. It could be enclosure for almost anything, right? I mean, it could be enclosure even for this. I don't want to be supporting this enclosure. That's not the intent of the government, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I hope that clarifies.
Yes. Okay. So you're right. I think that enclosures is the threshold is high, but there are also companies that would like to grow, the scale up, and for that
I'm tempted to clarify, but maybe I'll hold on.
Yeah, maybe at a later stage we could discuss. Yeah.
I'm Nandini from Tescom. So
sorry, just 1 second. I think we are kind of, we'll start getting pressure of time. So
quick.
Just the points.
Sure.
And quickly.
Yeah, sure. So I have a request that henceforth, when we have such forums, we need to include NSDC, Directorate of Technical Education, as well as the Quality Council of India, because the vision and mission of everybody has to be.
Works labs here. All people representatives are here.
Okay.
Already here.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So the vision and mission of everybody should be to produce good and quality goods, because once we enter into this component manufacturing, we will be able to achieve success only when we have economies of scale, and for that demand is very important, and for the demand prices are very important. If you take the Chinese operator cost, it's 3 times of the Indian operator cost as of now, but then their costs are very less because their yield is 100% always, whereas that we are not achieving here. So to achieve 100% yield, we need the whole ecosystem to have this vision, and this has to be planned at the school level itself, because in future, today we are going to have some skilling and some support for some groups to be trained on this, like either it's a component manufacturing or sensor manufacturing or semiconductor, but then in future it's going to be that's going to be the way of life for India. So then everybody, the Directorate of Technical Education should take it up as a course, and everybody should be trained. Then we'll be much more realistic in achieving the goals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. So I'm Barkatullah Khan from Vistion. So I think I'm one of the few guys from automotive manufacturing. So again, thanks for the incentive. So one of the points which I would like to kind of bring in here is on the automotive sector. We talk about this display localization or camera modules localization. So the problem here is like today we do not see these schemes highlighting about the automotive sector. It predominantly talks about EMS sector, it talks about telecom sector, it talks about all the mobile applications, but not about automotive. Because today automotive is kind of evolving big into electronics. So probably if the scheme mentions specifically with respect to automotive, I think that will be bringing in more of clarity to the stakeholders. I think that is one of my requests. And the second thing is automotive is not big on volumes as you might have on, let's say, the mobile applications. So what is happening is when we compete, when we try to localize these displays or camera module manufacturing, you typically still kind of import the subcomponents from overseas vendors. You do not have the ecosystem still in India. You kind of still compete with some of the overseas suppliers. What we kind of discover is that we have this duty benefit for these subcomponents in the mobile applications, but not for automotive. Because whenever you go to automotive, you still have a very high amount of duties on these subcomponents. So what happens is we become uncompetitive with these overseas suppliers, let's say from China. Even with the local manufacturing, if you kind of import some of these subcomponents, you become uncompetitive. So typically when you go to OEM that I'm going to localize a camera or I'm going to localize a display, you are still kind of not competitive. So unless some kind of benefit is done around this duty structure of subcomponents, it's going to be very, very difficult to bring in the localization, because we try to bring in this Make in India of cameras and displays, but we still are not competitive. So I think that is one request which I would still kind of make to the government of India. And the second thing is definitely on the volumes front, because we do not have such big volume scale as EMS mobile applications. So probably some of the thresholds given on the scheme may not be, at least at this point in time, applicable for somebody to start in the automotive sector. So maybe some amount of relaxation on the turnover or on the incentive might help for the automotive sector. Because today, to be very honest with you, the electronics content in automotive is significantly increasing, going up to close to around 40% today. So I think this is a big market, big volumes around EVs as well as on the ICE vehicles. So I think these are 2 points which I would like to bring to your attention. Thank you.
Hi sir, this is Kanan from Samsung. Like Mr. Kumar was mentioning, post-Trump, I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes which will happen in India. And we are also looking at all those strategic decisions which we might bring in a lot of investments into India also based on what happens in that. I mean, from what Trump is doing, I mean, things are very dynamic there. He's pausing certain tariffs and is taking a U-turn also on various areas. So we are still looking at what's happening there. So we may come up with a lot of things after there is more clarity on the US tariffs. We have availed of a lot of PLA schemes in the past also, I mean, especially on the mobile, and we have one of the top beneficiaries in the country on mobile side. We manufacture one of the finished goods here. We have very few components which we are doing here, like we do compressors and certain washing machine motors. On the electronic component, we have been doing PCBs in the past also. So for fresh investments, we are still waiting for certain decisions from our headquarters. Thank you.
Hi, once again, good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, thank you to the METI and Guidance as well as to ELCINA, because introducing the policy, but also just inviting the industrial people and explaining and how to get the benefit is really appreciable. From my side, I have 2 points. One is we are already an applicant for the METI, where the last PLI scheme we applied. The thing is, we were the last comer into the...
You're from where? Sorry?
Sorry?
Which company?
Coastal.
Coastal.
Yeah. So we were the last comer into the last PLI scheme where already the fund was exhausted. Still our PLI application were still pending for the disbursement of our money, where we are following it up, and in fact we were being through to the people chasing upon this.
The PLI for IT hardware, you mean?
The auto components on the investment. So that means the thing is, what I wanted is the process time and as well the availability of fund. When we wanted to apply in the last minute, already it's just getting into the exhausted by the users. Maybe we can extend the fund, or we can even see how to encourage the applicants, just not extending the time. And also, I think one good thing what I can see in Guidance, we have a single window point. Any issues or anything where we just go approach them, and they are the people who can get us or give us a solution. Similarly, in METI, if you could have an easy accessible, so that's kind of clarity or thing, it would also help us out for the people. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Shamil again from Avalon Technologies. Clearly, we all understand this is India's moment. Not just India's moment, just looking at this room, it's Tamil Nadu's moment as well. There's so much of global attention to what we're doing here. And excellent points have been brought up to make this easier for companies to avail the benefits from the government. I have one point. We came in and invested in Tamil Nadu before any of these schemes were around, 25 years back. So today we also want to, factor that too. We believed in Tamil Nadu. It's just not new investments, but we also want to see what benefits we can get because of our investment over the years. I'm so excited sitting here with hearing all what we're hearing about the future is relevant. Some of the points which Mr. Ramachandran brought up as well, capital goods, that's certainly one area which we feel needs some more representation in this. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for the opportunity. Myself, Venkateshan, representing Flextronics Technologies. I have one point to add here. When you look at any manufacturing, the backbone of this is two things. One is the know-how, the people who help this manufacturing, the resource. And the next is the raw material availability, as rightly pointed out by one of my friends. So we still depend imported raw materials to make even the electromechanical and the mechanical components. So we should have a strong representation in that area so that we have the availability of the raw materials to make sure we hit the bullseye in terms of achieving our numbers on the component manufacturing. Thank you.
Myself, Chari from Sirma HGS. Sorry for being turning late. Congratulations to the Government of India as well as Tamil Nadu government for excellent policy. A few points. I'm actually very happy that because PLI will definitely help us to be more competitive with China and others. I'm sure we will do well on that. But I also find some of the components, bare components, PLI schemes are not, especially in the context of investment threshold, are not really tuned to the actual investment required to set up certain setups, capacities. So I'm trying to reach out to ministry officials and try to help them or help us mutually to understand how does it works out, the investment thresholds.
Can you give some example to that?
PCB example, for example, the multi-layer PCB does not actually requires much more money than what is shown there. 50 crores, 15 crores. It's actually much more money you require to do that. And the HDI flex boards, they are talking about 1,000 crores. You don't require that much of money. $40 million is actually we put one line to set up one HDI flex boards. So I'll try to explain that when I try to reach out in person. Few specifically more micro details, we need to see the actual resources which is required to put up a capacity, water and power especially. We require, on a Indian geographical scale, we have to find out areas where semiconductor companies, PCB companies, etc. can be put up because they have certain water and power requirements specifically. So we need to find out if geographically incentive can be given to set up such place. And Mr. Subramaniam told about the borrowings.
Sir is asking where your company is now situated. Which company?
Sorry, sir?
Company.
I'm from Sirma SGS Technology, based out of Chennai and other 12 plants. Borrowings and the banks and financial institutions also needs to be helped out to understand the scheme. Because obviously, apart from the Capex incentive, you require much more help from the bankers also. So they are actually far away from the reality right now. Thanks.
First of all, thanks to everyone. I am Sudarshan Ramajayam from Thingsam Infotech Private Limited. Actually, everyone is saying that we need to strengthening the ecosystems and that all. Definitely, thank you so much for the things. And we requesting to all the state and central government. We need to focus on next level of EMS companies, so everyone actually focusing on the top level of EMS companies, and we need to focusing on that next tier 2 or tier 1 level of EMS companies to strengthening the ecosystems. And second things, many of the schemes from central government and the state government, we are not aware. So we requested to you all that we need to know what are the schemes are there and how to avail the schemes and that all. So these are the 2 points from our company. Thank you so much for the opportunities.
Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon. This is Raja from VVDN Technologies. VVDN is a ODM and EMS company based in Gurgaon. So we already part of different PLIs. We will be happy to participate in this component PLI also. From VVDN side, we are thinking of making PLI and electronics components like PCB, camera, and display modules. And also a lot of innovation we have done on mechanical locally. Our mechanical innovation park is recently inaugurated by Honorable Union Minister last Friday. So we have done a lot of innovation. So we are true Make in India company. We will contribute to Make in India. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks, Guidance, for bringing this forum together. From Tata Electronics, we had present.
Mike, little bit.
From Tata Electronics at present, we are looking at the tariff situations, and probably our team is also in touch with MITI on this, and probably we'll come back to you with the utilization PLI and enclosures.
Hello, my name is Arul Moses. I'm from Amphenol. So Amphenol is a 50-year old company in India, but it's a US based. And this particular, for the past 2 years, we are working towards bringing automation industry, which we have Amphenol China, to India. So I'm the one who's leading for India location. So here, I have just 3 points to put into for the next level of discussion. One, we are talking about mainly we are talking about the mass production. As Sir said, we are into automation, we are into completely customizations. So in this scenario, our Indian ecosystem, we are not extremely evolved towards making customized products, especially in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 industries, which we are getting in China. For example, any particular components we want, we are getting it in 2 hours or 3 hours in China, but the same we are getting, it takes almost 2 to 3 weeks in India. So we want something, we want to focus on Tier 2, Tier industry, which is like focusing on customization. That is one. And also regarding the training part, it's good that we are also including the training in the schemes. Also, in Tamil we used to say, mulla mullala edukano. So almost this technology, we have it in China. Amphenol China is ready to train the people, but due to the logistics, we are not getting the visa to send the people there for getting trained. So we need some support on that also, so that we can make it faster. Yeah, thank you.
Any visa issues, please give it to Guidance. We are actively following up the Government of India level.
Sure, definitely.
Okay, please give a list to us.
Sure, definitely, yeah.
Hello, I am from SFO Technologies. Apart from the PLI and the Capex incentive support, can we also expect for certain products the tariff on Chinese companies, so that once we hold the manufacturing of certain components here in India, the dumping of low-cost components from China will have a negative impact on the India-made manufacturing setups?
Okay. Have you applied for anti-dumping duty? Which component or which product? Relays.
Yeah.
But there is a process. If you can apply, talk to MITI, apply for anti-dumping. Now ferrites, it's happened. Now ferrite, they've,
Ferrite has happened. PCBs up to 6 layers. It has
6
happened.
layers, yeah.
Please apply.
Sandeep, you can probably discuss and help him to.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, and congratulations to MITI for the PLI launch. Great work, we must say, from Aditya Birla Group. From Birla Group, we are very much interested to participate in the material value chain for electronic components. So the current PLI kind of includes supply chain as category D, and I think there is no specific earmarking provided for this particular category. While longer duration has been provided to the supply chain for up to 2 years, as against the 6 months for the rest of the categories. If there is, we are a little concerned if there is no earmarking, the same funds might be utilized for others, and supply chain takes slightly longer duration for us to kind of evaluate, because it is dependent on another value chain which is still evolving, specifically the PCB value chain or the lithium ion value chain. So for us to understand what are the kinds of the needs that the Indian industry requires, we'd kind of take more time to do this, and we'll require a bit more deliberation to kind of understand the relative disadvantage compared to other So if we can slightly do a consideration after a while, a midterm evaluation to see if the incentive is provided is sufficient, that will be really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, audible.
Provide an end-to-end supply chain solutions, including EMI sourcing to supply to the client side. So if that's any investment in that opportunity, we'll be happy to engage with Guidance and ELCINA.
Thank you.
Thanks to Guidance team and then ELCINA as well as my team.
Foxconn, sir.
Actually, the team is working on it, direct related things as well as the internally working and then come back. Apart from that, related to the capital expenditure, already Rama sir and then others also highlighted. We need to have more clarification on that. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Jacob from IP India. We are a part of IP Group, and we are contract manufacturers for mobile phones and electronic components. And in the current tariff war situation, the PLI scheme is a really motivation for our IP Group top management to look into focus on investing and expanding the Indian operations.
Please ask them to speak to Keynes, right? I think.
Yeah.
We need another post from PLI.
Yes. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is like most of our operations currently happens in China. So we are moving our capital goods and capital investments from China into India. And the problem is like the counterparts from China do not get visas to come into India to train the people in India, specifically in our plant, to get up to the speed, to understand the process and the equipments. So which is something which needs to be looked into to help us out.
Please give us the list. We will follow it up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's all.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Sarvesh Chauhan from EdgeRise Global. I would just like to focus on a couple of points which have already been discussed, but I think infrastructure support, like in terms of clean water, ZLD, that should be, because earlier MSIPs used to support the infrastructure part, a bit of it, but present policies do not. I know this policy is already released, but consideration on ZLD, e-waste treatment for the components which are coming up should be definitely considered in either by ministry or the state government. Technology transfer of technology has been considered in the semiconductor policy by Guidance. Because new age technologies are evolving very in a rapid pace, that should be given a leverage on after due evaluation by ministry as well as the state government. Capital goods, as sir mentioned, should be addressed. In terms of skilling, as Semiconductor Academy in Taiwan is one of the academies, similar in that space, Electronic Component Design and Development Academy must also be planned in a couple of locations in pockets in the country. Because design and development and then innovation centers like IMEC in Europe should be considered. And from ELCINA, we are knowledge partner to ELCINA. ELCINA has been initiating a lot of road shows and conferences to educate these policies further. For financial institutions like banking and other funding agencies, I'm sure ELCINA would be further looking out to have such conferences so that this policy gets propagated soon. Thank you so much.
Santosh Kumar from Ratworks. I think everybody else stole the thunder. We have a couple of PLIs that we are working on, the AC and for the IT hardware. However, this one is very special to us because we've just launched our facility in Chennai for manufacturing for electronic components. While we talk about electronic goods, all that is okay.
the companies and the countries that have done and dusted are sitting on the other side of the room. So what we should do is try to see how we can partner with them to make this successful. Because partnership, I think, is vital. Reinventing the wheel could be a challenge for us. It will take a longer time. Of course, with the associations of Coutro and Jetro and from France, I think we should find a way to collaborate with them, understand what they've done so that we can reach the peak of the learning and execute faster. That's a take from my side. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hariharan from SF4 Technologies. And we are having a lot of inquiries nowadays, especially with the current situation. And we are currently a large industry in Cochin and in Bangalore. And we are also planning for more investments in Tamil Nadu with all these schemes. And the objective, I understand, from the government of India is to have Atmanirbharta and employment in the long run with all these electronic manufacturing. We are part of it, and we are already into a large manufacturing. But I have certain clarifications I want to take. Whether when we take over some companies which are already not being used, and that kind of facility is available because of the past, all this electronic component manufacturing has become defunct in some units. Whether reconstruction will be allowed under part of the eligible fixed assets, that clarity is required. And second, as my colleague already said, improved the import duty on some of the electronic components is almost nil. So there should be some amount of protection for the people who are investing into these schemes. So import duty on electronic components need review. And is there a mandatory Bureau of Indian Standards?
Can you say that again? Import duty on the electronic goods, sir?
Import duty on electronic components in capacitors, for instance, is 0% in some cases. So this is not providing any kind of support so we are also planning to invest into these component manufacturing. So these are all becoming a barrier for us to invest into that. And the mandatory Bureau of Indian Standard approval is being introduced one by item, and these electronic components should have a clear roadmap for that, in my opinion. And finally, the large amount of type testing charges are coming. The electronic products, international approvals, because when we make these products, it's not only for India, it's all for the exports also. So we need type testing to be included in the eligible fixed assets. In some of the areas, the type testing charges are more than the tooling and the capital investment. So this also should be considered as one of the eligible fixed assets. If it is already considered in the guidelines, fine. Otherwise, kindly consider this. These are my inputs. Thank you.
Hello, this is me, Vinod Perumal, Managing Director of Equipment Technologies. I think I'm the only one person in this roundtable who manufacture equipments for customers. So thanks for bringing that point, sir. We are expecting PLI for manufacturing equipments as well. It's not only for the final products. So this will encourage us to do more. And we have recently collaborated with one of the Korean company. We did a joint venture. They are the technology partners for us. And we sold more than 300 machines in the last 6 months itself. And thanks to all our customers as well of encouraging us, our factories in Chennai. So my first point is PLI for capital equipment as well. And second thing, see, most of the MSMEs are suffering for we buy in cash and sell in credit. This is our fundamental issue. And we also want to encourage the MNC companies to agree to get for the invoice discounting as well. So because if I say they're giving an order, we are taking 4 to 6 weeks to manufacture the machines, and then it will go, because as per MSME rule, it go without saying that 45 days credit you have to give. If the 45th day falling on Diwali, Pongal, then another 15 days it will take for the cycle. So it's very difficult for MSMEs to manage the capital. So it's good to say with all the MNCs, please accept the M1 trades or exchange, M1 exchange, where you can keep this MSME to run the show easily. So this is one of the points. So invoice discounting. Then raw material assistance. Okay, so this is also an important point for the manufacturers. And now, with an experience of last 300, 400 machines, still 70% of parts is imported from the other part of the world. And that ecosystem still is not there. So we need that assistance as well from the ELCINA point of view. And And one more request is ELCINA event meet. So we want to meet. We are ready to collaborate. So as I said, like we don't need to reinvent the wheel now. Yeah, so we can work with the technology partners. It's time for importing people rather than exporting people for us. So we want to bring people here, travel with them, learn from them, and do it. So this is what China have did. So we are open to it, and we want ELCINA, our Guidance Invest India, to consider this and arrange an event meet with to collaborate with the foreign delegates as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Karthik from Nokia 5G equipment manufacturing. First, congratulations to the ministry for releasing this scheme. We as a PLI beneficiary for past 2 years, I would say that this PLI the scheme is definitely very industry friendly. The disbursement of the money is there, so we have been successfully getting it. There are examples which are reverse in this case, like we had some delays due to our auditors submitting this thing, but then the government was chasing with us, the DUT was chasing with us to get this thing done, so that we submit on time and then get the money dispersed. So that way, this will boost the economy. So the industry environment is better, and definitely looking forward to this ecosystem. Now, this one question, sir, to you, on the land border countries, what we have. So we have, as many of us have also spoken, the talent or the knowledge transfer which we can have. Though we have industry and the country partners on the other side. But then there is a big interest from the land border countries. And then we have equipment support, we have component support, and they're ready to invest. I mean, our policy, if it is clear, we want to go without them or with them is the question which is there. But then there's a large dependency which is difficult to counter today. Our global procurement head were on a tour to Thailand and Vietnam and those countries. What we lose here would be a gain to those countries. So there's a huge investment. For example, PCB we spoke about. I was speaking to Mr. Kumar also. We're looking at PCB capacities are running short in the worldwide scenario due to the AI and the data centers consuming a lot. So the suppliers asked us to reserve the capacities for telecom manufacturing, and then I'm sure it's for the same for the automotive. And they're saying this is all the investment they're trying to move towards other countries, but if you're not allowing the investments in this country from our Chinese counterparts, then we'll be losing a lot of investment opportunities is one point which I'd like to express. What is happening around the world based on the study which has happened. On the other side, Tamil Nadu being industry friendly, I think this state has been always supporting with various forums. We have been here for 15 years. We have a required skill set available. We have one of the best manufacturing. These schemes helps us, large companies like, we have manufacturing footprints across Mexico, Europe, Vietnam and India, and we also had in China which we moved out. But then the quality and the people we have here, we have able to make a different mark in the world manufacturing within our organization, and the manufacturing that has helped to move to India, which means that we even started to export. I mean, 2 years back, we did a lot of 90% of the domestic deliveries. We're doing it through the 5G manufacturing in India, but then now we are doing a lot of exports, so that helps. So PLA scheme is also helping the organization decisions to bring manufacturing to the country. So again, I reiterate the fact that these schemes are definitely helpful. The way government is helping us also help industries to build in. So that is the two things. And the third point is the MSME which we spoke about. That ecosystem definitely we have to support. I'm not sure this 45 days what you said is not the 46th day. Government treats that as an income to the large industries, and we have to pay income tax on that. So there is a benefit to you, but I don't know the concern where it gets delayed, but then we end up paying the money if it delayed. So there is an extra care taken by our accounts payable to make sure that MSMEs are done. So that MSME ecosystem is very important. That has to be evolved. And the quality of manufacturing has to go up in terms of that. Cost is one factor which can be countered in different ways, but the quality of manufacturing has to go up for the OEMs to decide the component manufacturers in their bill of materials to be said. And it all starts 5 to 6 years in advance. At least the telecom manufacturing, it starts 5-6 years in advance by the R&D procurement team. And so the capabilities once established, it's a long journey or a long shot what you're doing. So this PLA scheme, I see a benefit to reap by the OEMs later. Or many EMS manufacturers sitting here are not the decision makers at all. It's all decided by the R&Ds who are sitting it. That's the challenge.
Question rather than
yes, sir.
the question, I think people.
So that's my point, sir. Few points about supporting investment and the talent transfer or the knowledge transfer from the countries which are having this knowledge with them, so that it can help us grow. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I have only one point for the Capex subsidy thing. For some components, specifically the import substitute, and for which on some machines the lead time is so high, the expenditure made before the acknowledgement under the scheme, if that shall be made eligible, will be a great support to the industry. Thank you.
So would you like to share a few words after the roundtable?
That's how the structure, right?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be responding?
Yes, yes, yeah, please, I can. They're all waiting for you.
Broadly, let me begin with saying that there have been a few demands about the incentive and all, whether it's adequate or not, or whether we should have post-Trump incentive or something like that. We firmly believe that incentive is not the reason for running business, right? You will be, if you see business, there's something called going concern principle in the business. If you see your concern as a going concern, you will invest. These are just the sweeteners, right? They are just the deals, they are just the sweeteners to help you overcome the initial disabilities. So kindly do not see this, because there was another demand for, somebody has asked, not reducing the incentive from 5 to 1%, keeping it 5%. We all want you to be competitive, right? We don't want to be dependent on the incentive forever. Because ultimately, as I understand, every one of us believe that we have to produce not only to meet domestic demand, but to stay competitive, so that, but also to, to export. And you can export only if you are competitive with any other manufacturer in the world. So for heaven's sake, you shouldn't be even asking for incentive to be maintained over at the same level or in perpetuity. That is not the intent of this. Government, maybe as we're discussing with Dare, I think, government is finding it hard to find money for subsidizing the manufacturing. I mean, where actually it should be meant for a lot of other social sectors, where I think it's government's job to invest, right? So kindly treat incentive as just, overcoming the initial bottlenecks and not kind of bailing you out forever in perpetuity. That is not the intent of the scheme. Or maybe I'll start with Mr. Ramchandranji regarding the capital equipment. That is, the scheme covers it completely. I think, so there is adequate provision in the scheme. The way the scheme is designed, first of all, the scheme is cross-sectoral. Again, answering to one of the questions from the delegates who are here, that it doesn't mention the auto industry. That was the point was raised. I mean, this scheme is not only for mobile or for IT hardware. It is for all electronics. So it covers all sectors, be it auto, be it consumer, be it industrial or whatever, right? Yes, we have tried to calibrate the areas where the incentive would be targeted by leveraging or by kind of moving up and down the investment requirements. That is what we have done. But yes, I think everything is covered. If you are willing to put in that scale of investment for the auto, I think it's definitely covered. So, Ramchandranji, Capex requirement is covered. It's clearly there in the scheme. It provides for that. Since we actually reached out to industries a lot for getting more clarity on the Capex, but we didn't get much feedback. So we just provided a blanket 25% Capex on the anybody who manufacture the capital goods, capital equipments, not only capital goods, but if you manufacture any subassembly of the capital goods, even those are covered. So we have tried, I mean, because we saw in the earlier scheme, the sub-assemblies were not covered. As a result, some people were kind of disallowed. So that's one. And then the comments from our international delegates from Kotra, Jethro, I think we take note of those comments, and we appreciate completely, we are cognizant of the fact that the changing geopolitical situation is actually favorable to us. With the present dispensation of the government, I think it's pretty favorable, and yes, the post-Trump things have become kind of a turbulent or become more volatile for almost everyone, and but we are confident that we should be able to be on the better side of the negotiation. I'll go down to the maybe incentive.
So I'll just try to, in between, regarding water and power, as requested, state government also has a role, and we'll be part of the state schemes. We'll be able to provide that and ensure that whatever is the clusters, we will be able to provide the quality of water required. And the government is also planning specifically for different clusters to have the requirement of water which is required for the high requirement of water for PCB and other electronic manufacturing. We will be able to provide that support also. And power also, Tamil Nadu has that power quality and reliable power available. That should also be feasible.
Yeah, and then what are the comments from the Salcom regarding the infrastructure investment? I think that's it's included, but kindly do not mistake it for a subsidy with a semiconductor scheme, right? I think this scheme is purely for components for the non-semiconductor space. Please bear that in mind. For semiconductor, we are in discussion, and once we do that, I think that will. But I guess this is included and should take care of that. Whatever is the cost needed for whatever is the capital investment needed for creating that component ecosystem should be covered into that. Regarding the qualification taking long time, we have provided a gestation period. I think that should help you. I guess that should be it's up to you to choose. But yes, I think I would like to clarify again here that this scheme does not entitle anyone that you once become approved. Somebody else's question that that there was not enough fund in the PLI and therefore they could not get approved. This is you perform and you take the incentive. This scheme is designed like that. Once the guidelines will be out, it does not entitle anyone to sit on the approvals and block the incentive. If you do not perform, you lose out. So this is the scheme is designed that you perform and you pick up the incentive. That's designed like that because we actually intend to accelerate the pace of the implementation and reward the performer rather than somebody who's sitting out there and blocking investment on our part. So on the Sanmina, I think Indian OEM to call for to be calling for Indian-made chips. I mean, this would be against the WTO requirements, right? I think we are signatory to the WTO. I mean, although post-Trump, whether we don't even know that the WTO is alive or not, or it has meaning, it has any meaning or not. But then there are certain obligations in the WTO, so we cannot mandate that. But yes, we can definitely come out with certain standards for security. We have done recently for camera. If you recall, so the cameras, we have come out with the security requirements, but then again, we cannot say that, it has to be only Indian chips. So people have shifted from the Chinese chips to the Taiwanese chips like Augmentex and all, and even to the US-based chips like those, which are what's that, Alphabet or something like that. I'm missing the name. So. But yes, I think and PLI should go down. I think that was your comment. It should remain. So it is intended to go down, right? It is intended to cover. It is intended to make you stand. Make it stand and run. It is not intended to kind of give you glucose, at every kilometer, right? That's not the intent of the scheme. Plug and play ecosystem, I think yes, we are in the process of establishing a few EMC. We have approved 2 EMC for the Tamil Nadu itself, Manalur, and one in the Sri Perumbudur itself. Maybe we will request Darrej later on to kind of expand on that if we can. And capital equipment part I have already answered. As regards the mover, SEZ and EU, yes, I think there are some challenges. We are trying to clarify that. Movement from the mover to mover, etc., that part has completely been clarified because of our persuasion with the customs department. But yes, I think it's still a challenge for anybody who want to invest to decide whether he should be investing in putting a plant in mover or in SEZ or in export-oriented units. And some clarification we need to provide on getting the job work done from SEZ in the DTA area, etc. That is still awaiting some final approvals, but then I think we are cognizant of the fact, and they should be coming out soon. On the localization part, as again similar to the chips argument, I guess, but then yes, we are trying to make. We have attempted to build in this scheme, though it's not a part of the notification, but you'll see in the guideline that we have said that, you know, if you're sourcing certain elements, say for example, if you're sourcing PCBs for manufacturing PCB, you are sourcing laminate domestically, then we are incentivizing that. Similarly, for lithium-ion cell, if you are sourcing the cathode active material domestically, then we are incentivizing that. So that you would find once the guidelines are out. We have tried to do that in a few, but we cannot be mandating that because we don't know what your supply chains are. So we cannot be kind of be so overbearing so as to kind of break your supply chain arrangements. Ramakrishnan ji, I think same point as capital equipment was, I've already clarified that. Keynes, yeah, I think regarding the bankers, they have no clue. I think the point well taken. On the 26th meeting which we are having with the minister, we have called all the most of the bankers. I cannot say all, but yes, we have called financial services company, be it SBI Capital, Access Capital, or be it Phillip Capital, and even you know, the other VC and the private equity firms as well. They have also been invited so that they can they're fully aware, and also they can better socialize with the investors. So that care we have taken this time. And otherwise as well, I think MITI as such invariably interacts with these financial services company, be it Goldman Sachs or be it any other VC or private equity, right? So we are we have open door policy. I mean, we do attend the industry stakeholder which are organized by such VCs, and like I personally have attended the Jeffries I have done with Phillip Capital, and I've done with Goldman Sachs. But they are a part of the delegation which is on 26. So I hope that concern is well noted and taken care. From Vistion, the highlight automotive sector that is answered. Duty benefits on electronics, I think, but not on automotive electronics duty benefit. I think, you know, we are signatory to the ITA 1. So we are a rule-bound country, you know, so we cannot say that from tomorrow onwards, I think we would we would have duty protection of the automotive electronics as well. We cannot say that, but electronics is included. And again, I would request you to leverage the domestic electronic manufacturers rather than building your own electronics for automotive separately. That would be my request to you. That is where we lack. I think we need, the Indian manufacturers needs to, you know, find synergies with each other rather than trying to build all capacities themselves. You know, we should avoid that trap. As I was discussing over you just before the meeting, I think there are enough suppliers, and they would be entitled to those benefits, but maybe not you. So think about it, what I discussed with you. So try to leverage domestic manufacturing supply chain linkages as much as you can. From the coastal last PLI part I've exhausted. Another point was whether Government of India should also have a guidance level of arrangement with Government of India. They are very powerful people, you know, they have a lot of resources at their disposal. We don't have, maybe I can request that is, you know, to kind of work for us as well, you know, and but I'm sure, I think we are in active communication. So if you can convey your feedback to the director, I think it would reach us, I'm confident. On the Flextronics, I think no specific mention, which needed clarification. SIRMA SGS investment threshold is not tuned to the actual investment which is required. For PCB multi-layer, you say 50 crore is pretty less. We did this, you know, so as to, we know, I mean, we are aware that the multi-layer PCB, I think depends on what layer you're talking about, right? If you're doing it 8 layer, I think you can do that in 50 crore. So, and we had the idea was also to not only to promote the bigger players in the PCB, but also to promote the small and medium manufacturers as well in PCB. So that is the reason the threshold was not kept very high, that we completely rule out the SMEs players in the PCB. This was kept, you know, after intensive, I think this was PCB was one sector where we had maximum consultation.
And again, if I may say, I think maybe we, for SDI PCB, that was the feedback which had come that, 1,000 crore, but maybe now I think 500 crore is good enough. But it is what it is. I mean, every time you talk to a different people, you get different numbers, but those numbers were arrived at only after industry consultation. If and on Amphenol, I think visa issues, I think you can give it to Derez, and we will be, I think METI is always proactive to help you with the visa issues. Aditya Birla Group, 3 months and 2 years. I think 3 years is only for the, in case you are for a turnover linked incentive, right? I think if you are giving a Capex support, if you're talking about that your interest in the supply chain incentive, it means that you're looking for a Capex support out there. So for that, you already have a time period of 2 years to apply for that scheme. So you have that window available with you. Is that, was that your question?
He was asking more.
You're wanting to more than 2 years. Is that?
2 years if it can be earmarked. So within 1.5 years, the fund can be earmarked.
I think the amount is that you'll see that when the guidelines come out, right? So there'll be clear earmarking of the amount when the guidelines come out for the supply chain part as well as the Capex part. So as regard to the SFO issue, which was regarding taking over some companies, and all brownfield investments are allowed. So you can take over. There are no restrictions on you taking over any other company. Brownfield, even the second-hand capital equipments are allowed. Are allowed. So that takes care of your requirement of taking over the company. But yes, if you take over a company, then the base year might change if the company has been in operation. If the company has not been in operation and you only acquire and you are wanting to include the investment in acquisition of capital asset into the investments, it is allowed subject to certain qualification that minimum 5 years of depreciation should be, I mean, it should be in life for the next 5 years. With all that condition, it is allowed. However, the base year, or in case the company is making any turnover, that would also will get counted. So your delta will be over the base year of the newly acquired company as well. And the import duty, as I said, clarified already. I think, I mean, there is a, we are ITA1 signatory, so there is a duty, zero duty here, I mean, on most of the electronic components as such. And that's the reason we are giving the incentive. That was also factored in when we came out to these amounts which you see. These are have been done, after factoring in all the disability, be it because of the import or because of a cheap labor or not so skilled labor because of logistical issue which we might have. And I didn't get that point for the typing testing charges. Maybe we can discuss this separately. I think we would need to clarify that. Nokia on the land border issue country, I think we have never said that the Chinese investments are not allowed. We have been actually approving the Chinese investments. We already have a Motherson who have done a joint JV partner with a BL, which is a Chinese company. We've also recently approved the one with the Dixon, which is with the Longcheer, which is again a very prominent Chinese company. Although we've also helped Pidilite, which is not our beneficiary, for a JV on a 50-50 JV with a Chinese company for the adhesives and the other seals, etc., which they make. So kindly drop this perception that government is not approving Chinese. We have been approving and we have been pushing hard. I think there are some challenges, I agree, but then yes, if you are forming a joint venture with a Chinese company and you are holding a JV, you are holding a majority stake in the joint venture, be rest assured we'll be giving you full support to give clearances, provided you get the technology here, right? So, I mean, we don't want to be kind of you to be getting into arrangement with the JV where you don't have any control. I think we have seen serious tax compliance issue. We have serious issue with the company, but the management has been with Chinese for the tax evasion. So that's the cause of concern for the government. But so long as the Indian entity is in control, is in management control, I think we have a full comfort, and we have been actually giving clearances, and therefore these are governed as per the clear FDI policy of the government. The PN3 route applies. It takes some time though, but yes, it gets done. So that's all from my side, maybe.
Just add 2 points in the sense that in 24th during our budget session, Industries Department budget session, and there will be a very significant and very useful announcement for all the component manufacturers, which you can wait for another 48 hours. And it will be really a supplementing whatever Government of India scheme is going to be. And second, as I was saying about regarding whatever is single point of contact for METI, any request, anything, we are again now authorized us to be the single point of contact. So you can please come to us and tell us, and we will be able to communicate to Government of India regarding any of the issues which you have, and Guidance will be willing to assist in that. Sir, so you want to add?
I think you want to say something?
Maybe. Before you close out, just wanted to add, Sushil Palji has been like a machine. He has just taken notes of every single question and covered pretty much all the points. The scheme, just now highlighting the query on Capex, it is covered. You can look at the last two. It says for the ecosystem, it says for ABC above and also for Capex, right? So please be confident that the scheme announced covers those. I also want to go back to the point, Ravi Bhatkalji. Sushil Palji clarified it. Okay. The first point he clarified. I also want to go back two closing comments from my side. One is Ravi Bhatkalji, actually when he started off, he said, please do look at this to think of 10x growth, right? He said 10 to 100, 100 to 1000. This scheme is really to encourage that kind of growth. And when you look at Sushil Palji talking about 65432 or the decreasing kind of thing, when you're looking at that kind of scale, actually the benefit of the scheme, both from the PLI perspective and the Capex, is phenomenally good in your ROI calculation. So please do keep that in mind. Back to you, sir.
I'll just say thank you, Sushil Palji, for putting this incentive program together, and Dr. Ahmed for organizing this event. I do want to reiterate that one of the most critical things is going to be building the ecosystem, entire ecosystem, to support the growth of the electronic component manufacturing. And that would include equipment, that would include materials, that would include people development, and so on. So looking forward to working with all of you to get that done. Thank you.
Any question, any comments?
Anybody we'll take two questions due to paucity of time.
Good afternoon. In addition to Mr. Benjamin, just received a couple of questions from our supply chain. So that may be more relevant.
Delta, right?
Yeah,
Delta Electron.
So just received these comments from our supply chain since we are actively working on this. So our supply chain has been looking for, there are certain products where it has been falls under the category of B as well as to C. So 8501, there are some products like SMT inductors. It is also 8504. There are some products like 8504 also. It was there some another products also. It will be under the non-bad components.
You're looking at the HSN code?
Yes.
I won't remember that. I mean, can you simplify that for someone who doesn't go through the HSN code?
No, only talking about only from the nomenclature, basically. Again,
so what is the question? I mean,
no, yes, sir. But both the products will falls 8504. One product falls under B category. One product will falls under the C category.
So how does it matter? How does what does HSN code got to do with this?
No, sir. Because again, the investment under the B and C category, the minimum investment it will differ. So we need.
It will be a separate application. I mean, investment. So supposing you're applying for a SMD passives, right?
Okay.
SMD passives, I understand, will have the same HSN code as a non-SMD passive. Is that correct? Is that what your question is?
Yeah, same HSN. Right? Yeah.
So it will have to be a separate application altogether, right? There has to be a separate application for SMD passives, which cannot happen, which can only happen with the help of the four companies which will have to chase. And maybe I did not make a specific mention to those four companies out here. But since the delegates from the Japan and Taiwan are here, I think maybe I would request them at least the Walsh in the Taiwanese, in the Taiwan side, and the TDK and the Murata on the Japanese for the support for the applications in the SMD passives category. For the non-SMD passives, there has to be separate application.
Okay. So from the investment perspective, there may be a common investment for both the products. So that may be the question. So I can come back with the.
There will be a separate application. The investment will have to be considered separately. I don't. If there are certain common investments, it will have to be considered based upon the proportion of the capacity which goes for the SMD and the non-SMDs.
Okay. Sir, when can we expect the guidelines? Because we are eagerly.
26th.
26th, okay.
Before we open the scheme for the application.
So also for the Capex related under the D category, where we will be having a domestic supplies also, and we will be having a supplies to exports as well. So I don't think so that may be a criteria, in fact, sir. Because when we talked about the D, the target segment D, it has been specifically pointed out that for the manufacturing of ABC. So we don't think so the restriction for the turnover only for the domestic. It will be for both and exports and domestics.
Naturally.
There is nothing in the
Naturally.
scheme which talks about domestic or exports.
Nothing in the scheme differentiates the domestic production with exports. Rather, we firmly believe, responding to your colleagues from Delta, if you cannot be competitive to export, you should not apply. Because that is the intent, right? Because we may be a huge country with a big demand as compared to other country, but still, I mean, we are nowhere. I think we are 1/5 of the US population, but 1/4 of the US population, but our demands are, 1/10 than the US, right? Yeah. We are still to reach there.
So then another question which you already said that where to put out, whether domestic, SEZ or mover, that is also another question. I think you said that you will come back to us. In fact, yeah. Because that is the biggest role, because where we need to put up, because
you have to look at those guidelines. I mean, what I said, what is under consideration regarding some movement of goods or some job work allowed from one category to another category. That part is to be clarified. But yes, I think if you think mover gives you more benefit, apply under mover. If you think SEZ gives you more benefit, apply under SEZ.
SEZ will have, if you put up a plant in the SEZ, again if you do an exports, as well as that when we clearance to domestic, that issue is there, because we have to pay the full customs duty when we clear into the domestic.
So what is the issue then?
So then there will be the customs duty also, it will going to be payable is a double, no sir? When
Naturally.
We sell, So that is a decision making, but of course.
I mean, why are we, I mean, it's a pretty simple thing.
Okay. We'll take up separately with it, right? So anything related to that, ELCINA will be more than happy to take your points.
Well noted.
With the
well noted. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The challenge in SEZ, yes, I thought you'll be asking more about whether you can be net foreign exchange positive in the initial few years. That would be a challenge in case that is a challenge. But you can't be expecting that, fine, I'm taking approval for exporting, but then I'm not exporting, I'm supplying to the domestic market. You can't tell me that, right? And not even asking for exemption for that.
One more question? Okay, so Mr. Ramchandran sir, it would be great if you can please consolidate and deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Just one point. The Tritra, you asked a question whether these are applicable to Taiwanese companies investing in India, right? It's applicable, right? So long as the company is India registered, it's all applicable, so no issues. And, Mr. Sushil Pahal has gone through all the points which were made, so I'm not going to go through all those points again. But it's primarily, I would like to thank Mr. Sushil Pahal for coming all the way here and spending time with us to explain the schemes. Of course, the scheme, as everyone has agreed, that it's fantastic and it's going to, as Ravi said, it can trigger 10x growth. That's really nice, and I think it's now the ball is squarely in our court. I think once it is announced on 26th, it's for us to take up, apply, and then, make it happen. Just one thing, sir, when I mentioned Capex, I did see that it had a 25% subsidy, but I was saying that it also for equipment, it also require a PLI. That was my point.
I think
we had a reverse logic, since there is not so much of a, there is not so much of a numbers produced for a Capex. That was the reason for not giving a PLI on this.
Okay.
That was the reason for giving a Capex support rather than, so that was the thought we had gone, and that was what was agreed to during in this stakeholder consultation.
No, we missed the thread because I think Marwaji
When the
organized-
PLI would be much higher, then it has to be something like, the PLI will have to be much higher amount. So.
No, we'll probably come back to you on that. Thank you, sir.
But I'm sure state government will also be giving you some help.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
it's good time to be shopping in India for the electronics, I guess.
So we're grateful to you for coming and spending this time, and we're all quite pleased, and I'm sure the industry here in Tamil Nadu will take it up quite enthusiastically. Mr. Ahmed, we're grateful to you for you and your team for organizing this program along with ELCINA. I think again, no words can describe the kind of efficiency with which Guidance Tamil Nadu works. I think they've been getting awards every year, but I think it's amazing the way they work. And you enter their office, it's like any MNC top class office. And people are very, I would say very polite and nice and efficient. So it's great, sir, for the kind of support.
And transparent as well.
Transparent, yes. So we look forward to, our industry here interacting with you and your team and getting the best out of whatever is possible. And, Mr. Mr. Vinod Subramaniam, thank you for coming all the way from Delhi to explain. And again, the same can be said of Invest India, like what I described about guidance, and I think it's the same at the national level. It's a very, very different experience now. When I was younger, I used to go to Udyog Bhavan in the corridors with files stacked all over and smelly. But I mean, it's amazing change. Thanks to all of you for making that happen. And as I said, please help Tamil Nadu companies to kind of also make some contacts and partnerships with other countries. That'll be great. Thank you, Ravi, for your nice presentation. And, Ravi is also part of the last bit of the chain. He's in materials, which is the most difficult part of, doing the job. And they're doing a great job. I think they have a factory in Chennai. They're producing it here. And they're doing cutting-edge development work here. So I think we need more people like Ravi in India at the moment. So thank you, Ravi, for your presentation. And thanks to Guidance team and to ELCINA for organizing this. I won't hold you on your lunch. So thank you very much, and have a great day, and all the best to you for making use of these schemes to your benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I thank all the participants for having spent half their day here. I hope it's worth your while. To my left, we have our guidance team waiting to network with you over lunch. Can you please rise? Yeah. And Ronnie to my right. And we have representation from Work Labs, from the investment facilitation team, from policy as well. So please free to bother us anytime during the lunchtime, and of course after that as well. Thank you all.